Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's HFoG. I'm back. It's been a long time since I've posted anything on YouTube, but I thought I'd give you all an update of what I've been up to. So a little bit of background. So many of you probably know that I am a software engineer by trade. I spent much of my career working for various large corporations in the Seattle area who I'm sure you've heard of, but whose names I will not drop here. 15 years ago, I wrote a bunch of iOS apps that are on the iOS App Store, one of which is an older version of the game you're looking at here called Tichu. That was my most popular app back in the day. But I was still working, busily working on my career at the same time. I also have owned a board game store, which is where the name House Full of Games and HFoG come from. HFoG is an acronym. It stands for House Full of Games. House Full of Games was my board game store, and then about 15 years ago when I started doing iOS apps, I released those iOS apps under that same name because most of them were board game related. Like I said, one of those games that I released was a card game called Tichu, which was probably my most popular game. It was very well received. It has what I consider and what many consider to be the best artificial intelligence implementation of the card game Tichu out there. Beats all the others in my opinion anyway. Of course I'm biased, but I've been told that by other folks as well. So yeah, I'm pretty happy, pretty proud of that game. So here's what happened. About a year and a half ago, the company that I was working for closed their doors. Now, I've been in the industry a long time, and I thought this might be a good opportunity for me to do something else with my time for a while. So rather than rush right out and get another job, I thought, you know what, it's been 15 years since Tichu's had a major update. A lot has changed. There's a bunch of stuff I really wanted to do with it that I couldn't do because I didn't have the time. Maybe now is my opportunity. So that's what I've been doing for the last little over a year, is reworking Tichu. So Tichu is a card game. It's a very popular card game among folks who play highly strategic board games, designer board games, things like Settlers of Catan, Ticket to Ride, games like that. It's played with a deck of cards, deck of 56 cards. 52 of those cards are like your typical poker or bridge deck, 4 suits, 2 through ace, very similar to what you would find in a bridge deck. Suits are a little different to fit the Chinese theme, but it's basically a poker deck. And then there are 4 special cards that are added to make Tichu what it is. The thing that makes Tichu so special is it's highly strategic, and it's a partnership game for exactly 4 players. You can play it with more or less players, but really, if you're playing it with any number other than 4, you're playing a different game that resembles Tichu, but isn't really Tichu. You have to have 4 players to really be playing Tichu. This is a new modern implementation of Tichu. It builds on that same award-winning artificial intelligence that I wrote for the original game. But this game is cross-platform. It's available on virtually any gaming platform. What you're seeing right here is being played on a Windows machine, but it also plays on Mac, it plays on iOS, it plays on Android. In addition to being available on the iOS store, where its predecessor is currently available, the old version of Tichu will be updated to this version shortly. In addition to that, it will also be available on Google Play and on Steam. So what exactly is Tichu? Like I said, it's a card game. It's what's considered a climbing game. A climbing game differs from a normal trick-taking game in that instead of playing a single card, you can play sets of cards when it's your turn. It is a Chinese-themed game, but unlike what you might read if you pick up a Tichu box at your local game store and read the blurbs on the back, it is not really a Chinese game. It is a Swiss game invented by a game designer named Urs Hostetler, who has a company called Fata Morgana Spiele, which is what you see down there, that link in the box in the lower left corner of the screen is a link to the Fata Morgana Spiele website. That's a Swiss website. It's a Swiss game. Invented by a Swiss game designer with a Chinese theme, and it is based on a number of traditional Chinese climbing card games. So it has Chinese origins, but the game itself is actually a Swiss game. So anyway, this is a fully licensed version of Tichu. My version has always been fully licensed. I have secured permission from Fata Morgana and Urs Hostetler to use their game art and use their rules, and I have been told this is the best implementation of Tichu on the market. Let's talk about how you play this game. So if I go in a single player game, I can continue a game in progress, or I can start a new game. Let's start a new game. Right now, you're looking at a representation of the table. When you click this button, it's going to deal out the cards to everybody. You start with 8 cards, and right now you have to decide, do you want to call Grand Tichu or not? Grand Tichu is a 200-point bet that you'll go out first. If you go out first, you win 200 points for your team. If you do not go out first, so any other player, including your partner, if any other player, including your partner, goes out first, then you will lose 200 points. Now, in this particular case, this is a pretty strong starting hand, so I actually might consider calling Grand Tichu. I have to do that before I've seen the rest of my cards. So yeah, let's see. This is a help button over here. Let's see what the computer recommends. I'll bet it's going to recommend I call Tichu. Yep, it does. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll call Tichu. Call Grand Tichu. So it's a 200-point bet. There you go. We've called Grand Tichu. Let's see if we can make that work. So now that I've called Grand Tichu, I'll take the rest of my cards. That brings my hand up to 14 cards. So, like I said, there are 52 normal cards. There are 4 special cards. That makes a hand of 56 cards. You divide that by 4, you get 14 cards per hand. So what are we looking at here? This is my starting hand. The next thing I need to do is I need to pass 3 cards, 1 to each of the other players. Let's see what the computer suggests. The computer suggested we play the 5, 6, and 7. That makes sense because I have such a strong hand. What you're trying to do when you pass cards, you're trying to weaken your opponent's hands, and you're trying to strengthen your partner's hand, and you're also trying to convey as much information to your partner as you can. By passing a low card to my partner instead of my highest card, I'm telling my partner I have a strong hand. So that's why it's suggesting I pass a 7. I'm improving my hand as much as I can by getting rid of cards that don't fit into sets. So let's see. That seems like the right thing to pass. We'll go ahead and pass those cards. And this is what I've received in return. So let's, I got 5 from Alex. I got the dog from Chris because I called Grand Tichu. And we'll talk about what all these things do. So let's talk about the specials, because especially since we can see all 4 of them right now. So this is the Mahjong, this card that my partner has played. The Mahjong is also called the 1, the Sparrow, the Bird. It is the lowest singleton in the deck. It ranks 1. If you have the Mahjong in your hand at the start of the hand, then you get the right of the first lead. You lead the first set of cards. You do not have to lead the Mahjong, but usually that's what people will do. In this case, Becky had the Mahjong, chose to lead the Mahjong. When you lead the Mahjong, you also get to wish for a card by rank if you choose. Becky did wish for a 2. You might have noticed there was a brief flicker of a cloud there where Becky wished for a 2. That's why Chris here has played a 2, because Chris had a 2 and Chris had to play it, so Chris did. So now play progresses to me. Let's talk about the other specials first before we go any farther, okay? The dog can only be led. When you lead the dog, it passes the lead to your partner. So if I were to lead with this, I can't now because I'm not leading, I'm following. But if I were able to lead with that dog, that would pass the lead to my partner, Becky, okay? The Phoenix is a wild card. It can be used to fill out any set of cards. It also can be played as a singleton. When played as a singleton, it is a half point higher than the current winning card. So if I were to play this right now, this would rank 2.5 because Chris is winning with his 2. Okay. The dragon can only be played as a singleton. It is the highest singleton in the deck. It always beats all other singletons. It can only be beaten by a bomb, which we'll talk about in a minute. Okay. Scoring. The goal of Tichu is to reach 1,000 points first. You score points by collecting cards. 5s are worth 5 points. 10s and kings are each worth 10 points. The phoenix is worth minus 25 points. And the dragon is worth 25 points. What can I play over the 2? I can play any of these highlighted cards over the 2. If I play the phoenix, it would be a 2.5, which we don't want to do. Dragon would win, but probably I want to play this 5 because the 5 was given to me by one of these other players. Hence, you can see the blue background. The blue border tells me this card was given to me by someone. In this case, it was given to me by Alex. The dog was given to me by Chris, and the dragon was given to me by Becky. The reason the card is highlighted is because usually you want to play cards that your opponents gave you early because that removes information for them, right? They know which card they've passed you, so by playing it early, they will no longer know what other cards you have. If I were to hold on to that 5, Alex will remember that I have this 5 in my hand. So let's play the 5. We'll see what happens. Okay. Chris has passed. When 3 players pass, that will end the trick. When 3 players in a row pass. Alright, let's just use the ace. Alright, so now we win the trick. Okay, you notice there was a countdown there. The reason there was a countdown is because if another player had a bomb, they could have chosen to play it. Bombs can be played out of turn. A bomb is 4 of a kind or a suited flush of 5 or more cards. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blue would be a bomb, for example. No one has chosen to play a bomb, so I won the trick. I win the next lead. I'm going to play the dog, which is going to give the lead to my partner because I want to get rid of this as soon as I can because it can only be led. So I want to get that out of the way. There we go. So 3, 5. I'm going to play the 10 because I want to get rid of that because otherwise it's harder to play. And then we'll again come back in with the ace. Okay, again, no one has bombed, which tells me probably no one has a bomb at this point, but we'll see. Let's get rid of this jack. And then I'll show you what happens when you play the dragon. So the dragon is the highest singleton. The only thing that can beat the dragon is a bomb. So you can't play a phoenix on top of the dragon, for example. I could play the phoenix here. It would be a 1.5 queen, but there is no dragon and a half. The dragon is the highest singleton. The trick with the dragon, though, although it's worth 25 points, any trick you win with the dragon, you have to give to an opponent. So what will probably happen is I will win this trick because no one else can beat it because they probably don't have any bombs. And then I will give it away, and I will decide whether I give the cards on this trick, the jack, queen, and dragon, whether I give them to Alex or whether I give them to Chris. I'll probably give them to Chris. Yeah. Okay, so now it's asking me, where do you want to give the dragon cards? I'm going to give the dragon trick to Chris. And the reason I'm giving it to Chris is because I want to give it to whoever I think is least likely to be able to go out. And in the absence of any other information, I usually give it to the player that plays before me. The reason you do that is because there is a slight advantage to the player playing after the player that goes out. It's not a big one, but there is an advantage. Okay, so there's a number of different ways I could play this. I could play the full house, but that's a pretty low full house. So odds are pretty high that someone else can beat that. So I probably don't want to do that. I could play the pair of 9s, which someone could probably beat, but then I could beat with the pair of aces, because remember the phoenix can be used as a wild card. But again, that's not very... It's not very safe, because it's entirely possible someone else could have a pair of aces. I could play the triple 4s, which I could then come back and beat with 3 9s. But again, that's a little weak. Probably not going to happen. So, what to do here? Probably the safe thing to do, because I haven't seen a bomb yet, and there's been lots of opportunities to bomb, is to play this pair of aces. And then I can follow up with the full house. Okay, so I'm out. So I won my Grand Tichu. The other players will continue playing. And hopefully my partner can go out, but maybe not. We'll see. No, my partner will go out. Okay. Hey, look at that. I won an achievement. Lucky me. Okay. I won the trick by going out first by playing all of my cards. Because I had called Grand Tichu, I won an additional 200 points. And then between the cards that Becky and I took, we had another 5 points in cards. Because Chris and Alex, between them, took 95 points. So 5 points for us plus 200 is 205 points. So we're off to a good start. Okay, so again, I'm going to look at this. My first 8 cards. That doesn't look strong enough to call Grand Tichu, so I'll just take the rest of my cards. Now, Grand Tichu is turned into just a regular Tichu. Regular Tichu is the same as Grand Tichu, except it's a 100-point bet that I'm going out first. It's worth less because I've seen more cards. I have more information available to me. I can choose to call Tichu at any time up until I have played my first card. So as long as I have 14 cards in hand, I can still call Tichu, even if other players have played. So let's see what the computer suggests I pass. The computer says split the twos and give your opponent give your partner the dragon. Well, I agree with giving the partner the dragon, but I think I'm going to hold those twos and instead, oh, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen. Now that's a long straight, but no, let's just do this. Let's get rid of the 5 and the 7. We'll keep this, the stairs that might even turn into a full house. Got a nice little run going here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So even pulling off the pair of kings, that's still a run. So yeah, let's do that. Okay, Becky's got a good hand. Becky's given me the dog, which tells me she has a good hand, even if she hadn't called Tichu. But you saw she also called Tichu, which is why her name tag is red now, and why there's a T up in the scoreboard. She's called Tichu. So she's betting 100 points that she's going to go out first. Now, since she's called Tichu, I had better not go out first, because if I do, I'm sabotaging her Tichu call. Okay, so she led a king, which is pretty high. She probably has a phoenix. I know she has a dragon, because I passed it to her. So yeah, she can definitely win this with the dragon. I can't play on it, which is why all my cards are grayed out. There's nothing that I have that can beat an ace, so I'm going to just pass. And yes, she's played the dragon. Now she's going to have to give away this king and dragon to probably going to give it to Alex. Ah, okay. Alex had a bomb. So, like I said, a bomb is 4 of a kind or any run of 5 or more cards that are in the same suit. So, flush run. Straight flush of 5 or more cards is a bomb. 4 of a kind is a bomb. Bombs can be played out of turn. And bombs can only be beaten by other bombs that either rank higher or have a higher number of cards. So, this particular bomb could be beaten by any flush, any straight flush of 6 or more cards. Or it could be beaten by any straight flush of 5 cards that ranks higher than 9. Obviously, I have no bomb. I cannot beat this, so I'm going to pass. Ah, but Becky has a more powerful bomb. Wow. So Becky has played her 7-card bomb, which beats Alex's measly 5-card flush bomb. That's unusual. It's very unusual that you see 2 flush bombs like this. But we'll take it. Good job, Becky. Another thing is by bombing the dragon instead of winning with the dragon, Becky was able to keep the dragon. So Becky was able to keep those points, which is delightful. I'm probably not going to go out, but if I ever had a chance, it's probably playing this pair of kings. This is a dangerous thing to do, but because I have the dog, I can give control right back to Becky, so I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. We'll see what happens. Okay, Becky had a pair of aces. I probably should have kept the kings. Becky's not fooling around. I'm a little surprised, though, that Becky played over my kings, because Becky knows I have the dog. She gave it to me. Okay, so we got 4s and 5. We got a 4 and 5 we need to get rid of somehow, so let's just dump that 4 while we can. You'll notice that Becky's badge has turned purple, indicating that she won her Tichu call. It would have been green if she had gone out first and not called Tichu. Alright, so here we have 3 4s, because remember the Phoenix can be a wild card. Pair of 6s that I can no longer beat because I've already played my pair of kings, which was probably foolish. And there we have a 5. I don't really want to come over that 5 because I've got a nice run. I would kind of like Chris to just go out at this point. Because if Chris goes out and wins the last trick, then I'll get a free lead. So let's see what Chris has left. Hopefully it's nice. Okay. Unfortunately Becky had an ace. Okay, that changes things a bit. Ooh, look at that. Unfortunately it's queen high, so I can't beat it. Okay. That's unfortunate. If Alex had played 7 through Jack, then I'd be able to play my 8 through Queen straight, but I can't. So Alex is going to go out now. All right, there you go. 2 hands of Tichu, and Becky calls Grand Tichu again. Wow, we're seeing a lot of Tichus in this game. So you can see I called Grand Tichu in 1, Becky called Tichu in 1. Hence, so we got 300 points from that, and then we've also taken 90 points of cards. So there you go. So that's what Tichu looks like. So hopefully this makes you want to learn more about this excellent game. This is a fantastic card game. One of the reasons I chose to make this game is I have been such a fan of Tichu ever since I first discovered it. It is easily my very favorite card game. Highly strategic. Seems a little complicated when you first hear about it, but you pick up on the rules pretty quickly. Once you've had somebody play it with you a couple of times, you'll pick it up really quickly. And there is a full tutorial in this game. If I wanted to, I could have walked you through the tutorial instead. Other features in the game, we have the full game rules here, so you can read all of the complete rules of the game here, along with some tips for how to play. You've got a tutorial that gives you enough to get in and get started. In multiplayer, you can play a LAN match over the local area network. You can play a cloud match that uses our Tichu servers to match you up with anyone across the world, any number of players up to 4. Leaderboards that keep track of how your score is relative to other players. There is a ranking system. Your rank goes up as you win. It goes down as you lose. The more difficult the people you play against, the higher your ranking can go. So that's Tichu. This is what I've been doing for the last over a year now. If you have any comments, leave them below. Have any questions for me, put them below as well. I read all the comments. And who knows, maybe I'll post some more about this or something else here in the future. So thank you for still being subscribers after all this time. Really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you all next time. Bye-bye.